Gold Coast rise continues on the back of a second gamer and the Giants stat that has led to their worst start to a season in 6 years. All that and more to come on the round so far. But Kane Corns, we have to start at Metricon Stadium tonight. North Melbourne, proper carnage now. Their fifth consecutive loss, 54 points. It could well have been 80. This is what Reece Shaw had to say post-game. There were too few rowing the boat tonight for his footy club.
We flagged this last week, but there's not a lot to be excited about if you're a North Melbourne fan, and it was a horror show for them tonight, headlined by their skill errors and the way that Richmond capitalised on that. So Richmond scored 8 goals directly from North Melbourne turnovers, and they just basically weren't up to AFL standard. We're seeing skill errors here from Tarrant under no pressure whatsoever. That is not an AFL standard drop punt, and as Richmond have done for so many years, the last 3 in particular, they make you pay off that. So Richmond's pressure was absolutely elite. North Melbourne completely capitulated. 1 inside 50 in the first quarter. They kicked 2 goals for the game. They didn't score in the first quarter. It doesn't get much worse than that.
And Richmond was without 6 of its premiership stars. North Melbourne's injury chaos has continued. I want to take you back to pre-game. Cam Zurhaar out, laid out with a calf injury. This is Reece Shaw speaking to the host broadcaster pre-game.
Zurhaar laid out?
Yep. Yeah, he's put on a bit sore from training the other day, and we tried to get him through, but it just wasn't worth the risk. And with our history over the last couple of weeks, we're learning our lesson.
So I was obviously referring to Ben Cunnington there. They played him underdone a few weeks back, came out, hurt his back injury again. Now, this is Jack Siebel, first game back after a 2-week hamstring, does it in the first quarter again. You've got to raise eyebrows at this. I know Reece Shaw said that they backed their call post-game during the week, but this is a bad look for North Melbourne when their injury list is already so long.
Absolutely, and it's not the only year their injury list has been so long. It's been a reoccurring theme at North for a while. So the team that wins this year's premiership are the team that are going to be best prepared under the most difficult of circumstances. Now, I don't know how North Melbourne prepared themselves and their players in the break, but clearly they're getting a number of soft tissue issues. Ben Cunnington played a few weeks ago when the club admitted that he shouldn't. So with such a shortened season, they're almost chasing their tail, trying to get these guys back quickly, but having reoccurrences of those injuries. So to lose the captain again tonight is not a good look, and the injury crisis at North Melbourne strikes again.
Richmond's got a couple of their own. No Trent Cotchin, no Dion Presti tonight. Dustin Martin, he was held to 16 disposals. Luke McDonald did a pretty good job in the first half. You can see here Dusty's anger probably getting the better of him at stages during the first half, but this isn't a bad result, Kane, when you can pull the trigger on a kick like this and vent your frustration after a quiet first half.
That's the kick of the year. That is the field kick of the year from Dustin Martin. And he does this often, doesn't he, Dusty? Like, he just does enough through the home and away season, particularly in the last couple of years, and then he'll launch into the final. So Luke McDonald did a good job, 16 disposals, as you said. Dusty just did what he needed to do, kicked a couple of goals, had some moments like that. And there was a couple of senior Richmond players down as well, but they just had such an even performance tonight. Set up right from the start. Game over at quarter time. In fact, game over 10 minutes into it. And Richmond just cruised through, and they're in a really good position. I sort of was questioning how deep they could go this year with the injuries that they've had, but they're doing enough just to stay in the hunt until they get those stars back.
You think North are going to have to play a lot of kids now? Ben Mackay came in, did the job, a pretty good job on Tom Lynch. We love this, though, from Corin Hayden. 6th game, going back with a courage like this.
Yeah, it's one of the toughest sports, if not the toughest in the world. And when you get efforts like that on a dirty night, that's how you win the respect from your teammates. So it was so courageous. It was a brutal hit. We hope he's okay. He was stretched off here. He went back to the interchange bench, so it all looks good, but you expect him to take it probably easy for at least a week or two. Well done to the young fella. And Josh Caddy had his own hamstring injury, so probably missed 2 or 3 weeks given his soft tissue. Not a good sign there for the Tigers. Now, on to the next game, the Giants and the Lions. It's an important win for Brisbane. Last week they were challenged. They failed to stand up, but they did it today against the Giants, and a few moments of ill discipline from the Giants. Really disappointing performance from the Giants. We see that one in the first quarter. It's early in the first quarter. Mumford has a history of giving away undisciplined free kicks. The ruck issues are there for all to see. He's battling away, Shane Mumford, but he has moments in every game like this. He gives a goal away. I don't really understand why Sam Jacobs isn't playing, but this one here from Perryman, just an unnecessary extension of the tackle. This one goes down from Robinson. Rayner takes an absolute specky and goes back to kick a goal. Every time they looked like coming back into the game, they had moments like this. This one from Lockie Keefe is just unforgivable. Like, you just don't see that in modern football. There's a 50-metre penalty, and all of a sudden it's down the other end. So I don't know if it's a lack of leadership. Well, I do know it is a lack of leadership. Stephen Cornelio was better today with his own on-field form, but their senior players aren't demanding standards that need to be set for this group. So there's issues all over the park for the Giants. They average just 34 inside 50s for the year, and with the midfield that they've got, that is unacceptable. So real issues at the Giants.
Now, it's hard for them to get past Harris Andrews in the first half. Whenever he plays on Jeremy Cameron, it's must-watch. Pretty rare we go with a Saturday star in defence, but he was too good before half-time, Harris Andrews.
Yeah, the defenders need some love too. He's a brick wall, 4 intercept marks he took. He had 14 disposals, which is a good number for him. He kicked it at 91% and did that playing on one of the best forwards in the competition. So I'm just loving the way that he's backing himself in and going for the ball in the air. The best defenders actually stop their opponents, which he did today, but also do this and come over the top and intercept mark and use the ball well on the way out. So there's no doubt in my mind he's the next captain at the Brisbane Lions, and probably right now with Darcy Moore, the best defender in the game.
Now, Leon Cameron, we'll get back to him. Now, post-game, he was scathing 3 goals they conceded from stoppages in their defensive 50, but he also had a look at their concentration lapses. These are the stats from 4 losses this year. All 4 losses by 4 goals or less. Look at that. The runs they've conceded, Kane, in all 4 losses, unanswered. 5, 4, and then 2 lots of 4 today.
And that is leadership. Like, that's unable to stem the momentum. And in a shortened season with shortened games, that's it. That's game over when you have lapses like that. So whether they're happy with what they did last year, whether the players that have got their really long Godfather contracts like Cornelio and Kelly and Whitfield and Green, they've all got them. They've all lined up for them. Are they performing to the level that they should be on the back of those contracts that they've got? Are they subconsciously wanting it enough? Because the lapses that we showed earlier and the ill discipline, along with those run-ons that they're allowing the opposition to get, is just not good enough for a team as talented as the Giants that haven't done anything in the game. They haven't achieved anything yet, and for the list that they have, they should have by now.
Now, Leon Cameron's out of contract at the end of this season. Grand final week last year, they assured us he was going to re-sign. The soft cap has been held up. It's now locked in a tick over $6 million. He's yet to put pen to paper. This is a quote from their chief executive, Dave Matthews, back in May. It's only 6 weeks or so ago. We've been coming to that. We've said publicly we're absolutely committed to Leon beyond this year. We haven't finalised an agreement because of the changing circumstances. He's fine. He knows his future is secure. Should they be having second thoughts on locking Leon Cameron in? They're now 3-4. Richmond next week, a big Friday night game. If they lose that, they fall to 3-5.
Yeah, well, they would be, Mitch, and they should be having second thoughts about it. I think we all like Leon Cameron. He's a likeable guy, and he's done a reasonable job getting that Giants team to the grand final last year. But they have to get back there or go one better to be absolutely, cashing in on the squad that they've got. So you can't make a call on that now. It's the point now where you say, look, there's 10 games to go. We'll worry about your contract at the end of it, and let's see how this next 10 weeks plays out, because you can't be locking in Leon Cameron long-term partway through this season, which has been an unacceptable one for the Giants, who are staring down the barrel of missing the finals, which is unforgivable, as I said, for a side as talented as that.
Well, it's going to be hard to see them go back on their word now, but it is going to be a watch this space. Stuart Dew re-signed during the week for Gold Coast, so clubs are able to do it now. The soft cap is locked in. Now to the SCG next. The Gold Coast Suns, one of the most watchable teams now in the competition, on the back of a second gamer. Isaac Rankine, he did it again with the first goal of the game.
Yeah, it's no fluke. If you watch the build-up to this, he's just an expert at running front and square, which is, what you're taught to do as a small forward right from the start. But he just gets to the right spot. Now, you say that kick off the ground is a fluke, and even Stewie Dew, look at his reaction. He couldn't believe it. Now, that's his first goal today. And this one, he's just a master at the stoppage of losing his opponent. We saw it last week, getting in traffic. Now, the defensive action from
That's horrible.
Blakey's poor here. Yeah, it's poor. You can't let him get goal side. Now, opposition will wake up to that, and it will become harder for Isaac Rankine. That was poor defence, but he's an expert at scoring goals from stoppage, and he's an exciting machine. I actually thought Noah Anderson's best game for the club today, and I just think they've got a really nice mix of experience and youth. Hugh Greenwood was the number 1 ranked player on the ground. You get him for next to nothing from Adelaide. He's had 12 tackles. He's the number 1 tackler in the AFL at the moment. And what a pickup he is to support the young players through there. So Stewie Dew's done a great job, and the Suns, who would have thought, are in the 8th.
They're 5th now. Thursday night game against the Western Bulldogs. If they win that, are we talking seriously about this footy club?
Yeah, we've got to be talking seriously about them now. I don't expect that they'll make finals. I'll be surprised if they do, but why wouldn't they? They're going to bounce back pretty quickly, being a young group. The health of the squad is good at the moment, and if games are shortened into a shortened period, they should recover well. So they're playing very connected footy at the moment, and they have height and talent on every line. So absolutely, internally, they should be talking finals. I'd be surprised if they did it, but certainly going in the right direction.
Well, they meet the Dogs on Thursday night. Jared Witts will have to come up against Tim English. He's leading the Dogs at the moment. Got smashed in round 1 against Brodie Grundy. He's fighting back. Got beaten in the hit-outs, but his clearance numbers do the rest of the talking.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Have all this effort.
He was the best player on the ground. Yeah, and this is what he does. So his work around the ground, he's still such a young man, 22, 23 years of age, and they take a little bit longer to develop. I love the coaching from Luke Beveridge to stick with him throughout the year. He's doing it all alone. This tap there is not many in the competition. I reckon there's 4. Gawn, Grundy, Nat Nui and English are the only ruckman that can do that. And that is just silver service. Bontempelli would be loving that. So it's his work around the ground as well. He's almost playing that old school, kick behind the play ruckman and then pushing forward as well. So he was excellent, and his improvement has just been stunning this year.
This was Essendon's big chance, wasn't it? They were 4-1 going in, game in hand, could have gone to 5-1, but they stumbled again, and it's been a bit of the talk, over the last couple of years with the Bombers. A few of these moments they'd like back.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about their resilience, the Bombers. When things don't go their way, what is the plan B on field? When teams come to shut you down, can you win another way? Can you play a kick mark game instead of going fast all the time? And they're frustrated. Saw this from the best and fairest winner, experienced player Devon Smith. He had a couple of those free kicks there from another leadership group member in Michael Hurley, who's played a lot of footy. They were just a frustrated side because they didn't have it on their own terms. And this one here, Laverty takes a mark inside 50, 35 metres out. Watching the goal square, 2 Essendon players hailing cabs, including McKernan, who's still calling for it now. I mean, as if he's going to pass that when he's 35 metres out, and Devon Smith has another nightmare off the ball here, which costs him 50 metres. Now, we'll replay it. There's not a lot in it, but there's just no need for it. It's not tough. It's frustration coming out from a side that doesn't have a plan B. So all the good work they did to start the season gets undone with a performance like that.
All right, back to Thursday night. Geelong and Collingwood in the West. Had the similar feeling to last year's qualifying final when Collingwood did the job that night. Their ball movement cut up Geelong, and the Cats' defence hates defending one-on-one.
It exposed them, didn't it? The nightmare for Geelong is that ball over the back. So that one there, their lack of speed in defence just sorts them out. Hoskin Elliott, they're taking the mickey a little bit, walking goal easy. And then this. So it's this handball here. That one there, they can't stop it from Stevenson to Varco. Maynard's kick is just sensational. And then we're going to see the one-on-one inside 50, which Harry Taylor should be able to defend, but he can't because it's a powerful opponent in Jordan De Goey. So the speed of Collingwood, not only through their legs, but speed of ball movement, that's just a terrible effort from Brian Myers. And Pendlebury's class here. I mean, we've got to pay credit sometimes. Sometimes the opposition are too good. Scott Pendlebury's too good there to find Taylor Adams in and amongst 3 Geelong defenders. So the only concern for Collingwood is probably 2 of their best 5 players out, and most important, with De Goey missing with the finger and Jeremy Howe, one up either end. It's going to really test their depth and their structure.
Now, one guy I want to highlight, Jack Crisp. We spoke about Jeremy Howe when he went down, who can stand up in his absence, and Jack Crisp might not do it on the air, but this guy's marshalling the defence, and he's gone to a new level this year, Kane. 130 consecutive games he's got under his belt now. Don't forget, this was the guy in the steak knives in the deal for Dane Beams.
One of the great pickups, and there's just not a weakness in his game. Minimum of fuss. He's humble the way he goes about it. He's very good defensively, but when he gets it, 460-odd metres gain, and he doesn't waste it. He went at 90%. So he's just what you want when you're walking down the tunnel with a teammate. You want to look alongside him and know what sort of effort you're going to get every game, and he gives you that effort. So what a pickup he's been. And him and Braden Maynard, they're actually quite similar, 2 players, the way that they go about it. And they're a really dynamic duo across half-back.
Buck said he didn't want to move De Goey out of the forward line, so put Crisp in there, and he's able to deliver that sort of kick. Now, we know today Gary Ablett has gone from WA back to Victoria to be with his family. We wish him all the best as he works through the illness for his son Levi, but it's going to leave a bit of a hole now for the Cats midfield. Another hamstring injury, this time to Joel Selwood. He's going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks. Their midfield is going to be a bit exposed over the next few weeks. They should get Duncan back in 11 days' time against Fremantle, but it's starting to mount up now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be left to Dangerfield, isn't it? And too few. So we thought that this season was going to sort out some teams. Would it favour the experience, those guys that have got hardened bodies and been there before, or would it favour the youth? Now, at the moment, seems to be, with the demands of it, favouring the younger sides who can recover quickly. And Geelong have been found out. So that's really going to test them. All of a sudden, you're left to not a lot of talent and depth on your list. So wait and see how they go. They just got to try and hang in there and probably go 50-50 for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, all right. 4 games to come now for the rest of the weekend. Port Adelaide's alarm set for 5 a.m. They're on the flight up to the Gabba to take on Carlton. Hawthorn, Melbourne, and the big one is the Derby. Luke Shuey still in a bit of doubt to take on Fremantle.
Yeah, danger game for Port Adelaide. I was wrapped with what Carlton did last week. They were unbelievable on Sunday night against the Dogs. The huge game between Hawthorn and Melbourne. The loser headlines the Monday night TV shows, no doubt about that. And the Derby with no Nat Fyfe. What a debacle, the way that Fremantle handled Nat Fyfe's hamstring injury and him surfing last week. That's been a disaster. So you'd expect West Coast to comfortably account for Freo in that Derby. All
right, to one more thing now. We go to the SCG. Not much went right for the Swans today, but how about the gymnastic effort from Tom Papley here? This doesn't look like a guy, Kane, that wanted to request a trade back to Victoria less than 12 months ago.
No, he's playing unbelievable footy. Look at that. That was a great game. There was just joy and celebration of goals, crowd in the stadium, not a big one, but just adds to the atmosphere. So I thought Hayward had some unbelievable moments today. He's going to be an exceptional player, and Papley's just having an all-Australian year, no doubt about it.
And the Lions-Giants game wasn't too bad either, so footy is alive and well. Kane Corns, we'll see you same time, same place here on The Round So Far next week.
See you next week, Mitch.